Hello, my name is James Hilburn, and I'm a teacher at Bessemer City High School in Gaston County, North Carolina. I'm licensed to teach 9 through 12 mathematics and 7 through 12 technology. I'm a member of the Gaston County Schools Pinnacle Leaders Network, which is a group of elite teachers who are dedicated to learning about new technologies in their classroom and piloting new technologies and sharing what we learn with our colleagues at our base schools so that students can improve their overall learning performance. I have a bachelor's degree in applied math from UNC Greensboro, a master's degree in math education from North Carolina State University, and this coming January, I'm starting a graduate certificate program to earn my principal licenseship in school leadership. I've been married to my wife, Vanessa, for about 7 years this coming December. I have about 13 cats on our property that come and go as they please, so we have an unofficial cat sanctuary. I enjoy spending time outdoors, hiking, or landscaping, or woodworking. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can use Google Forms to reach all students by incorporating Google Translate. And then once you have your form created, how you can use Flubaroo to analyze your data, to reflect on what you've done as a teacher, and to also implement Google Classroom to allow students to reflect on their own learning and empower them to make better decisions in the future. So here I have a test that I created. This is a Unit 1 test, so this was actually toward the beginning of the school year. And I used the add-on GMath to create my math expressions. But what I have and what many teachers experience is that I have a couple of ELL students who do not speak any English at all. So what I'm going to do is I go to the Tools menu, and I'm going to translate this document to the native language of my ELL students, which happens just to be Spanish. So I'm going to go to the Translate Document menu, hit Spanish, and then I can just hit Translate. Once I do this, now I have a translated copy in my ELL students' native language that allows all students now to be participants in the classroom. Now that I have both the English version and the Spanish version of my test, I'm going to create a Google form where I use a pre-test and a post-test model. Here you see the post-test. And what I do is, since I have both English and Spanish-speaking students in my classrooms, I ask each of the demographic questions in both English and Spanish. Then I use the go to page feature, or go to section feature, I should say, down here. Do they want their assessment in English or Spanish? Based on what they select, English or Spanish, it will take them to one of two sections. Here I've linked the assessment in English and I've linked the assessment in Spanish. And what will happen is when they click on that link, it'll take them straight to the Google Doc, English or Spanish. And then the students simply fill out the bubble sheet. And notice that each question is based on a particular goal and an objective. Here in this unit, it was all just simply Goal 1 algebra. Once the students have finished their assessment on the Google form, all their responses are populated into the response sheet, and I can use the add-on Flubaroo to quickly grade their forms, to quickly grade their responses. Once I use the Flubaroo grader to score the assessment, I can see the total points that the student earned, the percent that they got graded, and I can share their grades with them in this email column. But more importantly to me are the color coding here. If a question is highlighted in orange, that means the students did not understand that question very well. If it's highlighted in white, then the students understood that question very well, and I don't need to go over it. So it helps me as a teacher to reflect on my practices. Which questions maybe did the students have a misunderstanding on? Which questions did I do well? So it really helps me plan for the next couple of days on how I'm going to reflect on my teaching practices. And I use the Flubaroo for a pre-test and a post-test. And what I do on my own, for my own reflection benefits, is I capture all that data here in this spreadsheet for the Unit 1 test, and I can see how students grew, because growth is what's most important to me. So like I see that some students actually went down a little bit, so I might want to have a conversation with those students like, hey, what happened? Some students grew, So I might want to have a conversation with those students. And then some students stayed exactly the same. So based on the student performance, I might be able to differentiate and break students up into groups based on growth, decline, or kind of staying where they're at. From this pre-test and post-test data, I can also break down by each question how much the students overall either gained, highlighted in green, or declined on a per question basis. I can also see which questions I threw out, which were not graded, and I can track the average growth. So on average, for this particular assessment, I grew by 10.5% per question. So these questions that are highlighted in red are questions that I actually went down on between the pre and post test. So I might want to go back and specifically target those questions. And then finally, once I've used the Flubaroo data report and shared that with the students, I have the students go on Google Classroom and complete what I call a growth chart. This growth chart is based on each assessment, either quizzes or tests, and pretty much what the students do is they take each question, which is broken down by goal and objective, and put down how many answers they got correct. So suppose a student got, out of 25 questions were asked, they got 20 questions correct. And this is set up to dynamically change, which if you notice the numbers on the side, they did. And as the students fill out more and more data, they can break down how well they're doing by each domain strand or each goal. So I have 5 goals: algebras, functions, geometry, and statistics, and numbers and quantity. So by the time we get to final exam time, the students be able to focus on exactly what goal they need to focus on in particular, and then that helps me scaffold and differentiate my students.